Hello everyone, and thanks for dropping in. Today it's my PS3 annual maintenance day, and I thought I should share it with you. I'm removing the bottom cover. I have removed already the hard disk, and the reason I have decided to share this video, my annual maintenance over my PS3, is because I think a lot of people around the world, a lot of gamers, are going to be facing sooner or later the yellow light of death or the red light of death, the YLOD or the RLOD as it's called, which happens because PS3 is notorious for giving us trouble with overheating over time, and it cannot be booted, it cannot be started. So I'll have my loyal Phillips screwdriver and another little straight screwdriver so I can remove the covers at first. And this video is not going to be a special guide on how to tear apart your PS3, because there are plenty different versions out there. For example, this one needs extra attention when we get to this point to remove the screws, which are the Torx type, over the panel, and you need a special tool for that. And if you don't have special tool for that, you might want to use simple plain straight screwdriver like what I did, and it works just fine. Just have to get the right size for it. So again, this is not going to be a guide on how to tear apart your PS3. This one is a slim model. Out there you can find the fat model as well, which is totally different. And so the real purpose of this video is to get inside of it, and I mean the very inside of it, like in the heart of the system, in order to reach the GPU and the CPU, and so we can apply fresh thermal compound over the chips, and this will last for at least a couple of years. Here we can find all the individual components. Take a good look around for mishaps like this. Damaged cable, but still works. If it still works, it's up to you if you're going to be replacing this or not. We're going to be removing the power supply, which is back there. Needless to say, the device should be off the grid by the time we are performing this operation. Here is where the 220 comes in from the mains, and there's another we have to remove the plug, and then there is just another screw on the right side, along with a small connector that brings the whatever rectified 5 volts or whatever is needed onto the board. So 220 is gone, and 5 volts also connector. This connector is gone. The screw has been removed, and then we can simply lift up the whole thing, the whole power supply, which is pluggable, and we're done. This needs some extra attention not to break anything. Don't push it hard, gently raise it and lift it like this, and it will be removed in no time. And there we go, we have the power supply removed. Dust and dirt. One thing and one tip I can tell you about dust and dirt over the ventilation grid is try not to put your console onto on the floor or on the carpets, because extra dust and dirt might escape from the carpet and get inside. Now, several things we need to remove at this point in order to get to the metal plate, which actually is a sandwich. The DVD player, the Blu-ray player, the big cooling fan, but also the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi antennas. The way to remove the fan is different for each and every model. Usually you have to remove a couple of black screws, and the power cables and the control cables coming to the fan. Ooh, dust and dirt again. You might want to clean it before you put it back. So we have here the control lines and the power lines for the fan, this socket to be removed. We have to remove the ribbon cable which sends the signals, all signals needed for the operation of the Blu-ray, and this one is usually looking like this, and there's a single screw holding the Blu-ray on in place. But before you can pull it out, you need to remove the front panel, the smart panel, which is right here on the front, and it has a little ribbon cable attaching it to the board. We'll get there in a while, but only if you remove the little control panel with the buttons, then you can pull out the DVD player, and that's it. And of course you need to remove the cable. We have seen it was damaged in the beginning of this video, which brings the power into the Blu-ray device. So the Blu-ray DVDs removed. I have also pulled out the black and white cable, which comes from these two connectors back there. Can't remember which is which, but I think white is Bluetooth and black is Wi-Fi. So the big cooling fan has been removed, and we have the first indication of the main board itself. We can see there is a lithium battery we're going to be replacing soon, which holds the clock alive. And now we are moving to gently pull out this little ribbon cable which connects the panel with the main board. So okay, we have now to remove this antenna. This metal thing is actually the antenna, and this one too, for the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi devices. And this one has one screw and the other one has just another screw you have to remove, and then you can release the cables. The white one, I think it's Wi-Fi again, and just get them out of the way. According to different models, this can be attached to the fan or not, but in any case you have to release the cables and get them off the way, so you can remove the fan part and get, like this, those two antennas, and then you can remove all the single screws that you can find around, indicated with this arrow. So we have to remove all the screws indicated with this arrow in order to remove the plate, the metal plates along with the motherboard. And here we have it. You can see around the hard disk area it's full of dust and dirt because it's a mechanical thing that keeps rotating while playing, and the same happens with the power supply, and the same happens with the ventilation fan. So they have this ability to absorb dust and dirt from the surrounding environment, and this is why I strongly recommend you do not have your console, whatever console, on the floor or on even worse, on some carpet while playing. So let me clean this up a bit, and then we can remove the bottom plate, this metal plate, and the other side, the upper plate, and then we can reach the motherboard. Applying some fresh thermal compound every once a year or every couple of years doesn't mean that we do not care about the rest of the circuit, so keep it clean at all times. We're going to be also replacing the battery soon, so we do whatever we can to preserve our system. And this is why I'm calling this an annual maintenance day. I haven't done this for a couple of years. I can see some stains, some rust around the bottom plate. couple of screws to be removed, the same pattern to be followed. There is an arrow like this indicating which screws have to be removed, and of course we need to remove also the big heat sinks, the metal heat sinks, these two holding the GPU and the CPU together. So I have removed already the first one. I'm gonna remove the second one. These have to be tight because these two plates actually help us to absorb the heat from the GPU chip and the CPU chip. So okay, those two have been removed. Again, follow the pattern with the arrow. Where you can see the arrow, there's a screw that needs to be removed, and then we have to separate the bottom plate from the motherboard, as well as the upper plate from the motherboard, so we can work on the motherboard easily and effectively. So let me just pull this off and raise it, lift it like this, and we have our motherboard exposed. Now you will notice that those plates that are getting in contact with the GPU and the CPU still have some old compound, thermal compound on around the area, so we need to clean thoroughly every single part that has leftovers from the previous thermal compound, and clean also the traces and whatever stains or dust or dirt has been gathered through the years around the circuitry the best way that you can, and so that we make sure that our motherboard is looking as good as new. Okay, now here is another picture indicating again the 4 points, the 4 screws you have to remove in order to remove the heatsink plates from the bottom side shield. And so we are now ready to check the upper side, the top side of our motherboard, and as you can see, it's full of dust and dirt even inside here, no matter the fact that it was covered with the shield. You can also see that the previous compound, thermal compound, is almost gone, and I haven't experienced any problems, any red light of death whatsoever. But it was around this time that I should put some thermal compound, new fresh thermal compound onto the chips. And like I said before, we're going to be replacing also the lithium battery for the clock, and of course we're going to be removing all this embarrassing dust and dirt from this side of the circuit as well. Again, first thing to do is to remove the whatever can be picked, like, and cleaned with a toothbrush, and after that I'm gonna be cleaning the GPU and the CPU chips with some isopropyl alcohol in order to remove all the old thermal compound leftovers from the past, and then we're gonna be replacing the battery. So sounds like a plan to me. So for starters, we can I think remove the battery and check around the area. The battery is not dead, but I'm not going to take any risks. I'm going to remove this and replace it, and the surrounding area is full of dust. Like, this is embarrassing. Anyways, I'm going to clean the contacts and I'm going to install the new battery in there. Try to keep the 2032s as spares, as those are used also for our PCs and laptops, so it's a good idea to have some of these batteries aside. In the meantime, the motherboard is on the side, and I'm going to clean the upper and the bottom part of the shield. Let's take the first one, the upper part. You can see that the leftovers from the previous thermal compound is dry, totally dry. It shouldn't be this way. So I'm going to apply some isopropyl alcohol and clean it, the leftovers. We should make it shiny and new, because this part of the shield, the upper part of the shield, gets in direct contact with the GPU and the CPU chips, and these parts are actually absorbing the heat. So since we want to avoid overheating problems in the future, we need to clean it as good as we can. So try to be a bit more patient with this, since this is very important not to leave any particles from leftovers from the previous compound around this area. Another important thing is something we do have to think of twice, is the quality of the thermal compound that is going to be applied, but I'll get back to this in a minute. Let me clean this thoroughly and I'll get back to you in a second. Right, so and here we have it. The thermal compound on the left, the white one, is cheap Chinese thermal compound paste that you can find for about $1, and it's not suitable for this kind of equipment. The gray one I have in my hand, like the gray one, is kind of liquid. It's gray and it costs 4 milligrams, something like $11. So you can tell the difference by the price. So try to use good quality thermal paste for your PlayStation, because the temperature that this device can raise up to, I don't know what, but it should be some good quality product that you're going to apply on the CPU and the GPU chips right here, right over here. So again, try to avoid Chinese crap from eBay, and do not try to save a buck over the thermal compound. This is the most important ingredient for this recipe. And I think we have reached the last stage for this video, and the most important one. I have to apply now some vertical lines of thermal paste onto the chips, and what I'm going to be using is an old credit card or whatever plastic card you have that you don't care about much, in order to apply evenly the thermal compound around the chips. It doesn't have to be a thick layer of this compound, but it is important to cover all the surface, all the chip area with this. Not too thick, not too thin. You have to go over this and maybe go over this again, putting some more, but just a bit, and then again try with the plastic card to make it look even and nice, not too thick and not too thin, and keep doing this until the chip as a whole is covered with plastic, this thermal compound. I mean, using your plastic card like this. And so just be patient. Do not leave exposed areas. Do not make it thick. You don't have to, because either way it's going to be pushed by the heat sinks and it's going to be wasted outside of this area. So try to make it look even and nice, and after you're done you have to put everything back together, do everything in reverse order, put back the the screws with the arrow back into place, and hopefully you have your system restored and maintained for another couple of years or so. This is my the average I came up with, and I hope this video was kind of useful for you to restore your PS3 system. I'll catch you soon with another video, another review, repair, or demo. So please make sure you subscribe to this channel, and thank you very much for watching. So bye for now.